Hey Hennies, welcome to my channel. My name is Vivian Mojapelo Mkabela. And actually, today I actually had something in my mind, and I'm like, let me just talk about it now. And I think it's something that's been bothering me for quite some time. So, those that know me personally would know that my child actually speaks English. English is her English is her home language, even though it's not mine, because clearly you can hear how I'm just stumbling through my words like sometimes a struggle. But my child's first language or home language is actually English. And a lot of people ask me like why my child doesn't speak Vernac. So I actually just wanted to talk to actually a lot of people that are sitting with the same issue that I am, where their children actually don't know Vernac and speak purely English. But then before I actually do that, I just want to get into my background because I get so much judgment. Oh my gosh, this scar, I absolutely hate it. But yeah, I get so much judgment from people when I actually speak to my child in English all the time, and I just continue speaking in English. So, my husband and I actually met in varsity. And since we met, we had always spoken to each other in English. And the reason for that is because I am between Tsonga and Pedi. So those are the two languages I speak. Well, I don't really speak Pedi, but I speak Spitori because I'm from Pretoria. And then my husband speaks Siswati. And when we met, neither of us spoke each other's languages. And people just, I think, don't understand that most times when you meet people that don't actually speak your language, you just automatically revert to speaking English, especially if you met in an environment where everybody else speaks English. Like at school, generally, a lot of people you meet or come across would speak to you in English, or anybody who'd bump into you and try to ask you a question, the first language they'd assume you speak is English, or assume you know rather, is English. So, me and my husband have been speaking to each other in English ever since we met. But then throughout the years, he's been trying to learn my language. I'm still trying to learn his language. I understand, so I would fully understand when they speak to me in Siswati. I just don't know how to respond. And I suppose at this point, that is what I'm trying to learn. And same thing with my husband. He does understand Tsonga, but then he doesn't know how to respond in Tsonga. He tries, but like it is the herd. So obviously, we've spoken English ever since. And when my child was born, we were still in that stage where we're still trying to learn each other's languages. And it's just always efficient that we speak in English to get each other's points across, all right? Or get our points across to each other, rather. And because my daughter goes to an English school as well, she goes to school and they speak English there. And then unfortunately for us, when we do visit our parents, so my daughter's grandparents, they also spoke to her in English because both my husband and I speak English together. And then they obviously took it from us that we'd also speak to the child in English, right? So my child ended up speaking pure English. Like my child doesn't speak Vernac. But then at home, I've been trying to teach her like Xitsonga, but then it's been so difficult because my child automatically reverts to English. She already has an English accent, and her tongue is English. But I do try to teach her Xitsonga. Her accent is an English Xitsonga accent, and she doesn't understand like a lot of Xitsonga. She understands like a few words and phrases. So it like I always just receive judgment when we have like these family gatherings and whatever from some people where they're like, oh, uh, your white child or Lukwanyana la Vivi. Like I'm just like I laugh about it there and then, but then I'm just like, well, this thing for me is so circumstantial. Like it's purely because of how me and my husband started off as base from the beginning, and how obviously our close family and friends continued to speak to our child in English, and nobody bothered to speak to our child in Vernac. Um, I mean, she's picking up Vernac as she grows. We still try to teach her, but it's just so difficult because for her, it's not like natural given the fact that even after we speak to her in Vernac in the house, when we turn and speak to each other, then we speak to each other in English. So to her, it's like, what is this? So, like, for those of you who have like a similar type of setup, how do you deal with this? Like, how do you like brush off this? I don't even want to say brush off the judgment because that's exactly what I do. But like, I think it does affect me because I'm just like, if my child could speak Vernac, I would have wanted for her to speak Vernac because there are times where my English bundles deplete like altogether and all I just want to speak is Vernac. But because of my child, like I will speak to her in Vernac, she just won't understand. That's fine. But like at that point in time, I'm just so tired of speaking English. But like also, how do you help your child learn Vernac quicker, especially after like understanding that the first and home language is actually English, and that's the time that they speak. Like even if my daughter says any Vernac word, her accent is like all the way white. So how do you guys deal with this? And also, I think another thing that I struggle with is when we go to these family gatherings, and I take my husband with. I think maybe that's why my husband actually likes staying behind now, thinking about it in hindsight. When we go to all these events or family gatherings, my husband and I speak English to each other still because that's the natural language that we are used to. And it's just so difficult to actually speak to each other in Vernac because it's like, we're not used to this. Ooh, what is this? It's like meeting somebody, speaking to them in a specific language, and that becomes like the consecrated language. And now when you're supposed to speak something else, it's like awkward. That is basically me and my husband. So how like when we go to these events, we speak in English, and people were just like we receive very weird stares. People stare at us very weirdly. Like it feels like people are looking at you like, why are you making yourself better? Or yeah, but I just want also like people to understand that it's not a matter of like when you see people speaking English, I just want to bring awareness as well. When you see people speaking English to each other, it's not always the case that they think they're better or their mother tongue is not good enough. Like I absolutely love my mother tongue. I am a Tsonga girl. Well, I'm Betty by birth, I suppose, but I speak Tsonga because my maternal family is Tsonga and I grew up mostly with my maternal family. But like people always assume that once you start speaking English, you think you are better than them. And they look at you weirdly, or they look at you like you said you better than them. And I just want to actually bring awareness. Don't always judge people that actually don't speak Vernac. Because I actually can speak Vernac. And like I don't struggle hearing anybody speaking Vernac. I really don't struggle. And like like literally. So I don't think I'm better than anybody by speaking English. It's just a circumstantial thing. It's just the most efficient way to communicate with my husband. But I would actually like to hear your thoughts on this. Like, I really want to hear your thoughts on this. Like, now my husband says English is our home language. I think that's one thing that we always not fight about, like not literally fight about, like we always argue about it, like what's your main honey, like English ain't my home language. So I'm always just like English ain't my home language. But then he's like, what do you speak majority of the time? And actually, in actual fact, majority of the time I'm speaking English. But I still don't believe that is my home language. I just believe that it's my bridge language where I'm basically just having to communicate with everybody else. But yeah, let me not talk too much. I just want to hear your thoughts about like you speaking English to your children and speaking English to the rest of the family. Well, I don't speak English to the rest of the family, but I actually found that now that I speak English a whole lot more, I struggle to communicate or express myself a lot in vernac, which also becomes a tad bit of a problem. Because like maybe they'd speak to me in vernac. I know how to respond in vernac, but then I'll hoy in some English every now and then because it's so difficult to respond in fluent vernac, given the fact that I speak English almost all day, every day. So I think that's the disadvantage of also like speaking English all the damn time. And yeah, how do you deal with these type of things? I just want to navigate this life thing with you, and I just want to understand also, like if you are experiencing this type of situation, how do you actually work around it, or what are your suggestions rather if you're not in this type of situation as well? What are your suggestions in terms of like navigating this type of thing where you have a child that doesn't speak either of your languages and your family members or your close family members don't speak to the child in vernac but in English, even though yeah, you had hoped that at least the child will pick up vernac from the grandparents or from home. But that's not going to happen. My child is already 4 and everybody's now used to speaking to my child in English. So how? And it's just so weird when we go to the townships or when we go to the restaurants or whatever, and I'm able to communicate with the waiters or waitresses in vernac, and then they automatically obviously assume that my child speaks vernac as well. And then they'll talk to her in vernac, and my child just looks at them bluntly like, "What are you saying?" Like, and I always just feel so bad because now it's like everybody just assumes. And I mean, fair, it's fair that they'd assume that she speaks the language I speak or the language I know how to speak. But also it's just so awkward to then just tell people no, she can't hear you. She doesn't understand. Um, I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing, but I'm laughing. Like, this issue is actually very uncomfortable for me because I really don't know how to navigate it properly. I really don't know. And I'm really hoping I'd get suggestions from you guys. Um, and I think for my family, it's not that much of a problem, but then also we have a situation also where we interact maybe with other kids that don't necessarily know English. That's where then a problem starts arising where my child obviously can't play comfortably or seamlessly with the kids that actually don't understand her and she doesn't understand them as well. So how do you guys bridge that? How do you bridge this vernac English barrier when you have like such a complex situation? I don't know how complex it is for you, but for me, it's quite complex to deal with because I'm just like, I don't know how to navigate this. let me hope to hear from you guys. Let me end this video here, and I hope you guys give your inputs, because I really want to hear how to actually work around this. Like, I'm really, really interested. I really want to like improve the situation with my child and set her up as well, so that she's able to blend in to like different environments with different kids and different people. So do let me know, leave your comments down below. And for those of you who are in a similar situation as me, like, please hit your girl up. Like, I really want to know like how you guys in the meantime are dealing with this thing, while I try to figure out a solution to actually help my daughter. Other than that, let's end it here. I'll see you in my next video, and bye.